Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Brothers and sisters, this is Imam Azeez. Inshallah, I hope you're well and still finding a way to stay busy in these difficult times. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this tribulation to be over soon. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us the strength to endure as the events unfold. Jazakumullah khair for tuning in for another session of our Quran-tine program. As we are quarantined at home, we quarantine with the Quran. And so every night for about 10 minutes we recite a few ayat, and then we just make a quick remark about those verses from the Quran, and we let you guys go. Just maintain the connection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the bonds with your community and with each other. May Allah reward you for tuning in. And tonight, inshallah, we are on Surat al-Anbiya. Inshallah, we are on Surat al-Anbiya, ayat 83 through 90. So I'm going to give you a chance, inshallah, to look that up. Surah al-Anbiya 83 through 90. 83, 90, Surah al-Anbiya, inshallah. So please go ahead and grab your Qur'ans and please follow along with me. If you can do that, that would just increase the benefit, inshallah ta'ala. All right. Give you one more second. Surah al-Anbiya 83 through 90, inshallah ta'ala. Jazakumullah khair, and please listen attentively. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وأيوب إذ نادى ربه أني مسني الضر وأنت أرحم الراحمين. فاستجبنا له فكشفنا ما به من ضر وآتيناه أهله ومثلهم معهم رحمة من عندنا وذكرى للعابدين. وإسماعيل وإدريس وذا الكفل كل من الصابرين وأدخلناهم في رحمتنا إنهم من الصالحين. وذا النون إذ ذهب مغاضبا فظن أن لن نقدر عليه فنادى في الظلمات أن لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. فاستجبنا له ونجيناه من الغم وكذلك ننجي المؤمنين. وزكريا إذ نادى ربه رب لا تذرني فردا وأنت خير الوارثين. فاستجبنا له ووهبنا له يحيى وأصلحنا له زوجه إنهم كانوا يسارعون في الخيرات ويدعوننا رغبا ورهبا وكانوا لنا خاشعين. صدق الله العظيم وبلغ رسوله الكريم. وَإِنَّا عَلَى ذَلِكَ لَمِنَ الشَّاهِدِينَ. The ayat from Surat al-Anbiya are very powerful. It's a surah that speaks, as its title indicates, to many prophets and about many prophets. And one of those prophets that I wanted to quickly mention tonight, inshallah ta'ala, is Yunus alayhi salam. So please take a look at ayah number 87. Again, we are in Surah Al-Anbiya, 83 through 90, if you are just tuning in. And if you take a look at ayah number 87, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of Yunus alayhi salam. And the story of Yunus alayhi salam is very powerful. You have a prophet that was sent to a particular nation in order to bring them to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He spent what he thought was sufficient time with his people. Most of them rejected him, and that's when he decided on his own to basically walk away on his people. You know what? I'm done with you guys. He boarded the ship and he decided to go as far from that city as possible. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as a result, wanted to teach him a lesson. He was basically thrown overboard and he was swallowed by the whale, stayed there for about 3 days. And then the whale spat it out on the shore. And he learned a great lesson that it is up to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and it's not up to him to decide when it is over and when the mission has been fulfilled. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in ayah number 87 tells us, وَذَنُّونِ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا. His nickname that Allah gave him in the Quran, Dhannun. And of course, there's a story behind that. There's no time to talk about it. وَذَنُّونِ إِذْ ذَهَبَ مُغَاضِبًا. He left angrily. فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ. And this is a very important statement that is made by the Quran. The Arabs who may be familiar with these words, they would think that the meaning of it, فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ, he thought that we are not going to be able to overpower him. He thought that we don't have control over him. And of course, we would never think something like that of a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the word naqdir here, in its very strict linguistic sense, from taqdir, right, to limit, to restrict. So it's almost like he thought, what, God is not going to punish me for this. فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ. Allah will not restrict me, He will not limit me, right? He will not push me in the corner as a result of this choice. فَظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ فَنَادَى فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ. See how the Quran jumps. There's so much that happened in between, but from the depths of darkness, the darkness of the ocean, the darkness of the belly of the whale, right? He starts calling out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, La ilaha illa ant, Lord, there is no God but you. Subhanak, may you be glorified. Inni kuntu min al-zalimin. I have been amongst the wrongdoers. I have transgressed against myself, Lord, without explicitly asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to release him. And that's the ayah that I wanted to comment on. ظَنَّ أَن لَّن نَّقْدِرَ عَلَيْهِ. In the midst of him taking things for granted, he took his life for granted, he took his mission for granted, he took his own choices for granted, he felt very strongly about his own life, about his own personality, and about his own legacy, and he felt secure. He felt secure from the intervention of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He did not think that Allah was going to punish him for what he did. He did not think that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was going to mind it that much, right? And that is, that feeling of taking things for granted, thinking that the world is under my control, but I have sway, right? And I think that what is happening to us these days is a great indication that the world is not under our control. None of us in our wildest dreams imagined that it was going to come down to this, that I would be sitting in my guest room recording for a program that we are going to call a Quran-tine program. I mean, literally 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, this would have not even been something that any of us conceptualized or imagined. Yet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted it to happen, right? And so I strongly recommend, brothers and sisters, as much as the experience of Yunus alayhi salam was a test for him, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted to show him that, no, you don't take your world for granted. You don't take your own choices for granted. There is a governor of this universe, and that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should learn from that. We never take our world for granted. We never take our families for granted, our jobs, our health, right? We don't take any of that for granted. Every single second is a second of gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thank Him for whatever we have. Quite honestly, in times of prosperity, we used to say, you know what, we need to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for what we have. And then here we are, having lost so much, and there's a lot of death around the world, and the toll is getting higher every day. Now we're still reminding ourselves, we need to be grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wait a second, what if things actually get worse, right? And then when things get significantly and progressively worse, we're still saying the same thing. Oh, no. We need to show gratitude to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and not take our lives for granted. When will we ever stop saying that we shouldn't take our lives for granted and actually start practicing the ethic of not taking our lives for granted, right? Surprisingly, in Surat Yunus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala cites a very powerful ayah that speaks to that same exact thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, حتى إذا speaking of the earth basically, حتى إذا أخذت الأرض زخرفها وزينت وظن أهلها أنهم قادرون عليها أتاها أمرنا ليلا أو نهارا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically says that when the earth has beautified itself and ornamented itself and looks perfect in the eyes of those who dwell it, and people thought that they have full sway and full control over that earth, the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came down either during the day or at night when people are least expecting it, right? And again, the irony is that this is mentioned in Surat Yunus, because it's the same exact thing. And so I remind myself and I remind you that instead of talking about gratitude, instead of talking about not taking our existence for granted, it is time to actually live that manner, to live that ethic, to live that behavior. And I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us our sins, to give us the strength to endure during these tough and difficult times. Allahumma ameen. And brothers and sisters, again, please visit our website, live.tarbiya.org. You will be given a chance, inshallah, to see all the activities, the programs, the projects that we have for you, adults and youth. All the previous recordings are there, or the Friday spiritual talks. All the tafsiras are there as well. There's going to be like a huge collection of all of these videos. In addition to that, you will be given a chance, inshallah, to find out about how to serve the community, volunteer opportunities and so forth. And third, which is just as important, how to give back, right? We need your help right now more than ever. Our masjid, inshallah, on Foothills Boulevard is almost done. I know that we have not posted videos recently, but inshallah, once the carpet is installed, we are going to walk you through it. And it's going to be beautiful. And I'm asking, inshallah ta'ala, if you have a chance, please go ahead and consider sponsoring one of the prayer spaces. Inshallah, the links are in the descriptions. Jazakallah khair for tuning in. Please remember us from your dua. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.